This is Gaming Through the Ages, and today we're looking at Kenseiden for the Sega Master System. This can be translated as Legend of a Great Swordsman. The player takes control of the samurai Hayato, who must traverse 16 provinces of 16th century Japan, such as Chikuzen, Kaga, Tosa, and Edo. Each province represents a stage in the game. Hayato can fight 5 warlocks along the way to uncover secret scrolls, which each earn him a new sword technique. Initially, Kenseiden is a very difficult game, but as the player collects power-ups, it becomes significantly easier. After the first boss, the game becomes less linear, as Hayato can choose which neighboring province he enters. It's also possible to return to previous stages to look for missed items or kill enemies for more points. Hayato starts with 3 lives and a standard sword slash, but after defeating the first of the 5 warlocks, he gains the ability to jump higher. Additionally, swords can be found in several levels which permanently raise attack power. There are few extra lives hidden throughout the game, but if Hayato gains enough points from killing enemies, he gains an extra life, making farming enemies a viable strategy. If Hayato runs into one of the 5 warlocks without having obtained many power-ups, it's possible to be completely decimated quickly, but having just a couple sword power-ups and an additional sword technique can make that same boss fight a breeze. So although the game features non-linearity, it becomes evident that taking certain paths in the right order significantly alters the game's difficulty. Although the game boasts having 16 stages, a few of them are merely practice stages, where the player can attempt to traverse a few traps while knocking incoming arrows out of the way. Only a small bit of health is lost for losing in these areas, but a single hit causes you to lose. If successful, the player's health bar capacity increases, however, meaning successful completion of these areas can also make the game much easier. If the player loses all lives, it's game over unless they find the secret diary item, which grants a continue to the player. Using this continue means Hayato loses all power-ups and they must be regained, making it feel nearly the same as a game over. For players having difficulty, there is a continue code which can be used at the game over screen, which allows all power-ups to be kept. So even players who find the game excessively difficult have the ability to play through its entirety with a simple up up down down 2 whenever they lose all their lives. I've often heard Kenseiden referred to as being like a more traditionally Japanese Castlevania, and I can understand why. Where Castlevania based its enemies on Western horror, Kenseiden has enemies based on Eastern horror, and each game controls similarly. They both feel sluggish and take some getting used to, and each game has extra difficulty added from falling into pits when enemies strike you and force your characters backwards. The difference is that Castlevania rarely feels difficult for the wrong reasons. Kenseiden, on the other hand, has questionable hit detection at times, and the invulnerability after a hit is so fleeting that Hayato may be smacked around due to his invulnerability wearing off before his animation from being hit is finished. Kenseiden has some nice looking graphics for an 8-bit game, and the Master System's color palette is used really nicely, but several stage elements and backgrounds are used multiple times. The music isn't going to stick in the player's mind or anything, but it's pretty decent. Based on several accounts I had heard of this game in the past, I expected it to be a much worse game than it turned out to be. Actually, I would go so far as to say it's a Master System game worth searching out. It's not perfect mechanically, but it can be a lot of fun, and there's multiple ways to play through the game. Although the game can be brutally difficult, the stages are mercifully short, and many times just exploring and collecting a few more upgrades can make the game much easier. However, once entered into a boss encounter, it's either defeat the boss or get a game over. So having knowledge of the game's layout also significantly can affect the difficulty. As a fan of both horror and retro games, I say this one gets a bad rap, and if you think it would hold your interest, then give it a go.